Have y'all been keeping tabs on Cuba Gooding Jr., our very own Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire? One minute, the man's living his best life, hopping around the Oscar stage like he owns it, clutching that golden statuette. And then, bam! Next thing you know, he's rocking handcuffs like it's the latest fashion accessory.
Cuba, what do you say to your fans? What's your message, Cuba? Cuba, what do you say to everyone? What do you say to the accusers?
Like, what even happened? Are you itching to dig into the deets of how this award-winning actor went from Hollywood's A-list to, well, not? Let's dive deep into the roller coaster saga of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s rise and fall. Trust me, this story's got more twists than your favorite thriller.
Breaking news. Just as a trial was set to begin, Cuba Gooding Jr. settled accusations that he raped a woman in a New York City hotel a decade ago.
Cuba Gooding Jr. rose to fame in the 1990s. His first significant role was in the movie Boys in the Hood, but his performance as Rod Tidwell in the 1996 Jerry Maguire movie earned him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Show me the money.
The Oscar night in 1997 was the high point of his career. He later said that he had been dreaming and preparing his whole life for that moment. The movie was a box office hit, and suddenly, Cuba Gooding Jr. became a superstar. Cuba became very busy with his acting career, often playing serious and soft-spoken characters. For his role in the 1999 movie Instinct, he was paid $2.5 million. Cuba Gooding always took his acting very seriously. Once talking to Steve Harvey about his role as O.J. Simpson in the 2016 series The People vs. O.J. Simpson, he said it was an emotional roller coaster.
O.J. killed everybody in that driveway.
No matter if you think he did it or he didn't do it, as I read these scripts, my opinion changed like a tennis match, back and forth.
But did he continue the journey he started? Cuba Gooding was in the limelight and all the directors were approaching him. He was having the time of his life, traveling in private jets and limos. Yes, Hollywood did show him the money, possibly too much of it.
Cuba's a wild boy. Like, that's never been hidden. His nickname that he would tell everybody is butt naked.
And this is what goes back again to my young men in the world. Stack your paper, be a gentleman, and do not touch these women inappropriately.
After the 1997 Academy Award, his performance was inconsistent at best. Cuba became very selective about the roles he would play.
I became Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr., so I was too precious about that title.
Well, he got a little too picky about the different roles to the point where he would turn down even Steven Spielberg for a role in the 1997 historical movie Amistad. Boy, was he crazy to do such a thing. After reading the script, he just thought the part was not right. But turning down top directors in Hollywood took its toll, and he definitely paid the price with his career.
I became Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr., so I was too precious about that title when I should have just kept working with great directors.
Cuba Gooding turned away so many leading directors, it got him out of their lists. Did you know that once Gooding was offered the role of Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland and refused to play the part because Idi Amin was a bad guy? And guess what? Forrest Whitaker won an Oscar for Best Actor for portraying the same movie he turned down. Honey, I don't know what he was thinking, but to be fair, can you actually picture him acting that role? I don't know. But not long afterward, he went broke. He started doing movies which went straight to DVDs and kids' comedies to make ends meet. For almost a decade, he was in the wilderness, as he calls it.
Those moments where I look back and I say, how did you find yourself in this scenario, in this situation? So I reflect on that day at the Bubbles party in New York City.
He moved away from commercial hits to do flops and critical time bombs. His work as a mentally disabled man in the film Radio in 2003, a movie about football, received critical acclaim. In 2002, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Let's take a look at Cuba's journey. How did he get to this point? Cuba Mark Gooding Jr. was born on January 2nd, 1968, in the Bronx, New York City. His mother was Shirley Sullivan, a singer, and his father, Cuba Gooding Sr., was the lead vocalist of the soul group The Main Ingredient. With both parents coming from the music industry, young Cuba Gooding had a natural flair for the entertainment business. He grew up with 3 siblings, April, Omar, and Thomas. The family moved to Los Angeles in 1972 with his father's success in R&B music. But his famous musician father was away from home most of the time. When Gooding was 6, his father left the family. His mother raised young Cuba and his siblings alone. They had to move from place to place because his mother could not afford a deposit for an apartment. They stayed in cheap hotels and sometimes in the car. Once, she had to lie to get into a shelter for abused women because the family had not eaten in days. Despite having no home to return to after school, he was a wonder kid in high school. His mother told him, "Don't ever lose your smile." Would you believe that he attended 4 different high schools? He was elected class president in 3 of them. Cuba Gooding met his sweetheart Sarah Kapfer in high school and lived with her for 7 years before finally marrying her on March 13, 1994. Cuba spent 3 years learning Japanese martial arts after school. His first entertainment gig was a breakdancer during Lionel Richie's performance in the 1984 Summer Olympics. He was 16 at the time. Cuba Gooding Jr. has 3 children. People magazine chose him as one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world. So, could his childhood life have played a part in the way things turned out for him?
We begin with breaking news out of Woodland Hills. Police are investigating the death of Cuba Gooding Sr.
The 72-year-old found dead yesterday in a car in Los Angeles. Drug paraphernalia and alcohol were found in the car.
Gooding didn't just ruin his career, he messed up his personal life as well. He almost went to jail. Yes, the star actor was led away in handcuffs. Jasmine Abay, a cocktail waitress at the Lavo Nightclub in Midtown Manhattan, alleged that Cuba Gooding forcibly kissed her without her consent, forcing his tongue into her mouth in September 2018. She was serving drinks at his table. Cuba pleaded guilty but managed to avoid jail. Even his criminal record was wiped. But it didn't end there, and more sexual harassment cases started to surface. In a separate incident, Kelsey Harbert alleged that she was sexually attacked while sitting in a bar in New York in June 2019 with Gooding and his girlfriend. Harbert said Gooding put his hand on her thigh and grabbed her breast. She further stated that when Harbert reached for Gooding's hand to move it, he grabbed her hand and tried to kiss it instead. The actor explained what happened that night in an interview.
A young lady came and sat next to my girlfriend, and she said she was a huge fan of Snow Dogs. And we conversed, and then when our group left, I believe I gave her a kiss on the hand, and we left. And my girlfriend stopped her from coming, and I think that upset her or whatever.
But the lady took it much more seriously. She went on to complain to the Special Victims Unit of the DA's office that Cuba Gooding Jr. touched her breast without her consent.
Gooding pleaded guilty today to forcibly touching a woman, which is a misdemeanor, at a New York nightclub in 2018.
While Gooding was flying back to Las Vegas, a warrant was issued for his arrest.
So when I land in LA, my lawyer calls me and says, "You got to come back."
So Gooding flew back and went to the police station. By then, the police had released his mugshot and the video footage from the club. They wanted to drive him to the courthouse to see the judge and ask the actor to use the back entrance. But when they came out of the police station, the whole world was watching, and Cuba Gooding Jr. was in handcuffs. Oh, honey, it was just a mess. But it was just the start of a storm. By August 2020, 30 other women came forward, accusing the actor of unwanted touching. Gooding admitted to forcible touching of Harbert in 2022. Then came the rape case. A woman alleged that Gooding raped her in a Manhattan hotel room in 2013. Her name was not disclosed, but Gooding was able to come to an out-of-court settlement with the woman just a day before the case was called for the hearing. The woman claimed $6 million in damages.
Jury selection was supposed to begin this morning in a federal civil trial against Cuba Gooding Jr., but now that is not happening because a settlement has been reached between the Oscar-winning actor and a woman who accused him of rape about a decade ago.
This really hurt his marriage. Though he managed to stay out of jail, his wife of 22 years filed for legal separation in 2014. Cuba Gooding portrayed his position positively.
You know, officially I'm still married. It's just, you know how marriages go. Sometimes you take a break or 2.
Or 3.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that my life is what it is right now.
But the differences were irreconcilable, and the actor and Sarah, his high school sweetheart, finally filed for divorce. Cuba Gooding Jr. lives in Pacific Palisades and Porter Ranch, California. He is 56 years old and has a net worth of $12 million. Did you like his role as Rod Tidwell in Jerry Maguire? What is your favorite Cuba Gooding Jr. movie? Comment down below.